5.
Make sure that CCN clip ready. We need it for the second.
4.
Blacks from the Clarendon correspondent coming through now.
3.
All the international stories in the folder. Good to
2.
Newsreaders all set.
Yeah, man, everything set, everything ready.
1.
From the grill to Morant Point, NewsTalk 93 FM has got it covered. Across the 7 seas to the 4 corners of the world, it's all captured on the 93 radar. 93.1, 93.3, 93.5, 93.7, and 93.9 on your FM dial. Real News at 5 starts now.
Good afternoon. It's time for the 5 o'clock news roundup here on NewsTalk 93 FM. I'm Errol Lee.
And I'm Andre Bernard.
Coming up in this newscast, lawyers defend Caribbean Court of Justice as the final appellate court for the region.
Office of the Public Defender investigates withdrawal of head girl position from student at St. Hilda's High School.
Police High Command expresses shock at the murder of District Constable Ashley Howard.
And Jamaica Labour Party caretaker candidate for Central St. James says the PNP's crime strategy has collapsed.
And now the news in detail. The ongoing debate about whether Jamaica should support the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, as the country's final appellate court has gained more support from members of the legal fraternity. President of the Jamaica Bar Association, the JBA Donovan Walker, says like several other lawyers who endorse the CCJ, he shares a similar view with them.
Lawyers from the Senate and in private practice and in public practice to discuss the Caribbean Court of Justice becoming Jamaica's final appellate court. And I was pleased to share the view of the Jamaican Bar Association that after consideration at our annual general meeting that was held in March this year, and after examining this issue carefully, the Jamaican Bar Association is of the view that the CCJ should become Jamaica's final appellate court, and the Jamaican government should move in that direction.
Walker says the CCJ is the most feasible option for Jamaica at this time.
At this particular juncture in our history, we need to move away from the Privy Council, and we feel at this point in time, while there might be other options we could look at, that the most feasible option, the option that makes sense, is the Caribbean Court of Justice.
President of the Jamaica Bar Association, Donovan Walker. Meanwhile, making reference to the United Kingdom-based Privy Council, attorney Bert Samuel says any self-respecting country would want to move away from such colonial past.
I think any self-respecting person would want to move away from a colonial court and believe in ourselves. It is self-respect, it is believing in yourself. I have had the opportunity of being my classmate sat as one of the judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice, so I'm kind of proud of that court. And, it has other features in it which makes any forward-thinking person proud that the Jamaican court can be there. And, judges drawn from the Caribbean.
Attorney at law Bert Samuels. Both men were speaking on the evening edition last night. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister A.J. Nicholson has urged full support for the adoption of the CCJ as Jamaica's final appellate court. In underscoring the court's integrity, Nicholson maintained that the judgments delivered have been of high quality and have not been open to political manipulation. And Norman Manley Law School professor Stephen Vassiani gave his vote of confidence to the CCJ, noting that it is much cheaper to appeal to the CCJ in the Caribbean, and in fact, if Jamaica were to become a party to the appellate jurisdiction, appeals would be heard in Jamaica by the CCJ.
Meanwhile, 8 groups have joined forces to call for Jamaica's lawmakers to vote in favor of making the CCJ the country's final appellate court. The groups are the Jamaican Bar Association, the Organization of Commonwealth Caribbean Bar Associations, the Cornwall Bar Association, Lawyers Christian Fellowship, University of Technology Faculty of Law, the National Integrity Action, the Jamaica Civil Service Association, and the University and Allied Workers Union. The Senate is to begin debate on Friday on 3 bills to adopt the CCJ's appellate jurisdiction, paving the way for a move away from the Privy Council. The groups say they feel it is important at this time to use their collective influence to support the move. According to them, the CCJ and its various support mechanisms and entities are now well structured to ensure and maintain the independence of the judiciary, to attract the finest legal minds, and to insulate them from political or other interference. It also says there is no need for a referendum on the matter, noting that there has already been years of consultation with stakeholders.
Chief Justice Zalem McCalla has highlighted some of the efforts and initiatives being undertaken by members of the judiciary and its local and international partners to reform the justice system. McCalla said that the cherished tradition of the Assize Service marks the beginning of a new term that holds the promise for improved services in the justice system because it provides an opportunity to present the judiciary to ask for divine guidance during another year of the judicial calendar. The Chief Justice highlighted initiatives that seek to improve the timeliness of justice, which includes greater reliance on technology to improve efficiency. She also noted that the recent amendments to the Evidence Act will assist greatly in shortening some criminal proceedings and streamlining certain processes of the court. She was speaking at the annual Assize Church service on Sunday at the East Queen Street Baptist Church.
The police high command is expressing shock at the murder of District Constable Ashley Howard. Reports are that Howard was shot by gunmen on Slipe Road, Crossroads in Kingston, at about 8:30 a.m. He later died at hospital. Commissioner of Police Dr. Carl Williams has strongly condemned the actions of those responsible and warned that the police will do everything in their power to bring the killers to justice. Williams extended condolences to the relatives, friends and colleagues of the district constable.
And a man was shot dead today on Slipe Road close to Torrington Bridge in Kingston. His identity has not been released. Reports are that at about 8:30 this morning, people reported hearing loud explosions and called the police. A search was carried out of the area and the man's body was found on the sidewalk in a pool of blood. The incident caused a pileup of traffic in the area for some time.
Jamaica Labour Party JLP caretaker candidate for Central St. James, Heroy Clark, says the People's National Party's administration the People's National Party administration's crime strategy has collapsed as they are always closing the proverbial gate after the horse has galloped through and gone. Clark says this is self-evident based on the results in Western Jamaica and the loss of life in rural Hanover recently. He was speaking at a party workers' meeting over the weekend. Clark is suggesting that the present PNP administration, had they followed the strategy from the 2010 National Crime Prevention and Community Safety Strategy more assiduously, perhaps lives could have been saved recently in Hanover.
You're listening to news on NewsTalk 93 FM. It's 9 minutes after 5. The Office of the Public Defender has opened an investigation into the withdrawal of the position of head girl from a student of the Anglican-run St. Hilda's Diocesan High School because she is reportedly a Jehovah's Witness. Public Defender Arlene Harrison-Henry says her office interviewed the 16-year-old student Jade Basco and her mother, Rhonda Clark, who is alleging discrimination. She says other interviews are scheduled for tomorrow with key personnel, including the principal of St. Hilda's, Heather Reed Johnson, and the school's board chairman, Bishop Leon Golding. However, she has declined to give a timeline by which the investigation will be completed. Meanwhile, the student's mother says she welcomes the intervention of the Public Defender's Office. Principal of St. Hilda's, Heather Reed Johnson, says Basco's appointment as head girl was rescinded, given the potential conflict that such a position would pose if she is a Jehovah's Witness. The mother has admitted that she had written that her child was a Jehovah's Witness on the school's application form 4 years ago. However, she insists her daughter is not a Jehovah's Witness and has only attended the Kingdom Hall a number of times. Last Friday, the Education Ministry ordered the school to review its position.
The opposition Jamaica Labour Party JLP is seeking to clarify that its promise of a removal of school fees if it wins the next general election is in relation to auxiliary fees at the primary and secondary school levels and not tuition. So currently, tuition fees are only charged at the tertiary level in Jamaica. Spokesman on Finance Audley Shaw says removing auxiliary fees would be part of efforts to continue increasing access to education for Jamaicans. When the JLP formed the government in 2007, it abolished school fees at the secondary level, and that policy was maintained by the current People's National Party administration. However, Shaw claims that the government has reintroduced school fees using the auxiliary fee system, where schools charge parents a certain sum each year to help fund their activities.
Chief Executive Officer of the PSOJ, Dennis Chung, says it is difficult for people to get jobs in Jamaica, and this problem is seen especially among university graduates.
It's not really a private sector perspective, but, if you think about it, it has been difficult over the past few years in Jamaica from an economic point of view. Yeah, jobs have been difficult to get. Just yesterday I was speaking to someone who said that he has a daughter who has completed a law degree, and for 2 years now she can't get something to do. So there are a lot of people out there who have left university and are unable to find something to do.
Chung points to some solutions and commends the university to train its graduates to start their own business. However, he says the various policies implemented by the authorities hinder this among young people, especially when it comes to activating micro, small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs.
What should happen in an economy that's turning around is that, when you leave like school with a university degree, the universities are doing a very good job now of teaching people how to get into their own business. And a lot of people are trying to do that. But yet still, even though we're going through the adjustments that we need to go through with the economy, the fiscal and legislative programs, the policy that we're implementing is still making it very difficult for SMEs in particular.
Chung adds that young people are discouraged by these policies, and in addition, the government and the private sector are focusing on fiscal revenues but not facilitating SMEs.
You're faced with the prospect as a young person that it's very difficult as an SME, and it's hard to do business, the bureaucracy, policies that we're putting out there. I understand that we have fiscal revenue issues, but it seems as if what we're doing is we're just focusing on fiscal revenue and not thinking about facilitating SMEs in some degree. So combine that with the fact that it's difficult to come out here and get a job.
CEO of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Dennis Chung, speaking on Fresh Start this morning.
Chairman of the Electricity Sector Enterprise Team, ESET, Vin Lawrence, says negotiations are ongoing for construction of a large natural gas terminal in Jamaica. He says it should be a 190-megawatt terminal that will be constructed on Jamaica's south coast. Lawrence says the natural gas terminal will bring in gas primarily for the Bogue plant, which was officially launched today. Meanwhile, in addition to today's launch, the Port Authority of Jamaica, the PAJ, is to construct a new berth to facilitate the offloading of cargo in conjunction with the Bogue plant. Vice President of the Business Development at the PAJ, Edmund Marsh, says the port will be used by cruise and cargo vessels initially.
The National Water Commission is warning the public not to flush solid items down toilets, as this can cause an overflow of sewage. There have been recent complaints from residents in several communities about raw sewage overflowing into their homes. The NWC says this will happen when certain items are flushed down toilets. It points out that items such as cigarettes, condoms, and female sanitary products choke the sewage system and result in a backup of sewage in homes and overflow onto the roadways. The NWC is urging customers to dispose of their solid waste responsibly.
In news from the region, entrepreneurs, owners, operators and managers of small to medium firms from across the region will meet in St. Lucia tomorrow to adopt a strategy aimed at strengthening entrepreneurship and boosting job creation across 14 CARICOM countries. The three-day entrepreneurial ecosystem development workshop and business incubator management training forms part of a series of training sessions designed to build an integrated ecosystem of support for early-stage entrepreneurs in the region. The workshop is part of the Accelerate Caribbean Regional Incubation Support Program designed by the World Bank Group, InfoDev, to strengthen innovation, entrepreneurship and job creation across CARICOM.
That's local and regional news. For international news, we join the BBC.
BBC News with David Austin. The chairman of the Dutch Safety Board, Tjibbe Joustra, has told reporters he believes the missile which brought down Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 in eastern Ukraine was fired from an area controlled by Russian-backed rebels. Mr. Joustra said the borders of the area were fluctuating at the time, but pro-Russian rebels were in charge. He was speaking after giving details of an investigation which concluded that the missile from a Russian-made Buk 6 anti-aircraft system exploded about a meter from the plane's cockpit. The White House has called the Dutch report an important milestone in the effort to hold those responsible to account. Malaysia's transport minister vowed to seek the prosecution of what he called the trigger-happy criminals. Russia described the report's findings as biased. 3 Israelis have been killed in Jerusalem as a wave of unrest intensifies. 2 Palestinians killed 2 bus passengers in East Jerusalem. Another assailant drove his car into a bus stop in central Jerusalem before stabbing a bystander to death. The Taliban say they're withdrawing from the northern Afghan city of Kunduz. A spokesman said they'd been able to free hundreds of fighters from Kunduz prison and capture military equipment. The lawyer representing the family of the murdered former president of Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara, says an autopsy on what are believed to be his remains shows he was riddled with bullets. The lawyer said at least 8 people had been charged with the murder of Mr. Sankara, who was killed during a coup in 1987. BBC News.
Broadcast Jamaican and NewsTalk 93 FM now gear the news in the Jamaican language.
Good evening. My name is Colleen Marshall and this are the news in the Jamaican language. The 2 policemen who get charged for trying to collect some money from a man with a major organized crime and anti-corruption agency Mokabena ask some question get longer time for stay at them yard. Them are Corporal Omar Loban and Constable Ramor Thomas. The 2 of them mocha and them go before the Carpet Area Resident Magistrate Court yesterday. Them get charged because them do some things that go against the Corruption Prevention Act. The Transport Authority are going to start them Choose Right, Choose Life campaign after some number in a 2014 and shows some more people that in a crash from public passenger vehicle like a taxi. This morning, the Transport Authority been assessed some number from the Mona Geoinformatic as shows a 76-car accident killed 50 people last year. Them say most of the time, people cause the crash them are gone. On top of that, them say most of the people them in the accident don't know the difference between legal and illegal car or they must take. 8 group come together and a call upon the Jamaican Senator them for vote for make the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, be the country last court. Them are the Jamaica Bar Association, Organization for Commonwealth Caribbean Bar Association, Cornwall Bar Association, Lawyer Christian Fellowship, and some other group. The Senate are going to debate on the 3 bill Friday come. The group said important for them work together for support the move from the Privy Council to the CCJ. News from the rest of the Caribbean. Ricardo Barrett Hernandez, who are the chief for the Santa Rosa people community in Trinidad and Tobago, said them need to give one holiday for celebrate the Amerindian culture and agriculture land for the first people them. Hernandez been a talk at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, UTT, International First People Conference, what them call Exploring Restitution for Native Genocide and Enslavement, will take place at the UTT Omera campus yesterday. Him said in the first place, the first people them may have 1,320 acre land when nobody never supposed to take it from them, and it been for passed down from generation to generation. News from foreign. 3 people from Israel dead and over 20 get hurt in a one shooting and stabbing attack were going in Jerusalem and central Israel. 2 of the men who do the shooting and stabbing are some Arab. Them dead too. Police been kill them. One another Smaddy from Israel dead too after them run him down and stab him in the city. Smaddy from Palestine dead too in a one clash with some people from Israel in the West Bank city of Bethlehem. Almost every day people from Palestine stab people from Israel. 17 people from Palestine dead too. Me name Kadeen Marshall and that are the news in the Jamaican language.
Broadcast Jamaican and NewsTalk 93 FM just gear the news in the Jamaican language.
The
5 o'clock Sports Roundup is brought to you by NewsTalk 93 FM, life-changing radio.
Good afternoon. I am Mikhail Drama Johns with your 5 o'clock Sports Roundup here on NewsTalk 93 FM, and we begin with football. At Sports Time, scores in today's rescheduled Group C Isaflow Manning Cup matches saw St. George's still leading Eltham High 4-0, while Denham Town were still up 1-0 versus Innswood High. And there were just minutes remaining in the matches then. And last night's Registrar Premier League RSPL Monday Night Football saw Harbourview being blanked 2-0 by defending champions Arnett Gardens. Further afield, the Reggae Boys this morning suffered a 3-0 defeat in their friendly international match versus South Korea. Goal scorers were Zhidong Won with the opening in the 35th minute, followed by Ki Sung-yoon, and the final one coming in the 60th minute was by Hwang Ho-jo. The boys' next outing will be on November 13 at the National Stadium when they contest their next World Cup qualifier playing Panama. 3 days later, we'll see them play away to Group B rivals Haiti. Ahead of today's game, head coach Winfred Schaefer said the friendly could only be a victory regardless of the scoreline. He said as the Jamaican players stood to gain from the experience, there was nothing to lose. More on Schaefer. According to the German, his council's actions have led to his FIFA ban being lifted. He had received a 2-match ban on September 29, pending a review of the disciplinary matter to include his defense. Schaefer was charged for unsporting behavior against the match official in the CONCACAF third-round World Cup qualifying game against Nicaragua in Managua on September 8. More football. Today's European 2016 qualifier saw Bulgaria being one of the best winners, beating Azerbaijan 2-0, while Wales earned a similar win, beating Andorra. Meanwhile, Belgium also won by a 2-goal margin, getting by Israel 3-1. In other games, the Czech Republic held off a late surge by Netherlands to win 3-2. Kazakhstan scored a lone goal to beat Latvia, and Iceland also fell 1-0, their defeaters being Turkey. Bosnia-Herzegovina clipped Cyprus 3-2, Norway fell 2-1 to the Italians, and Croatia served Malta a 1-0 loss. In cricket, stumps at day one of the first test between Pakistan and England saw Pakistan putting up 286 runs in 87 overs while losing 4 wickets. Shoaib Malik has been the strength of the attack so far, having an unbeaten 124, followed by opener Mohammad Hafiz, who fell 2 runs shy of a century. Meanwhile, for the hosts who had been sent into the field, James Anderson has 2 of the wickets to his name. England are on tour of the United Arab Emirates, starting with 3 test series versus Pakistan. And the International Cricket Council ICC has announced a 5-fold increase in prize money for global women's competitions from next year until 2023. The ICC has also increased the prize money on offer in the men's game. The ICC board says the increase recognizes improved standard and professionalism in women's cricket. During the period, teams will compete for total prize money of £2.9 million, and that figure includes a pool of £656,000 for the World Cup in 2017. A quick look at netball. Deals have been secured by a pair of Sunshine Girls to play in the United Kingdom's Netball Super League NSL. The historic deals go to Shanice Beckford and Nicole Dixon, who will play for Team Northumbria Tiana. The NSL is the elite netball competition in England and Wales. Running from January to May, it features 7 teams from England and 1 from Wales, comprising players from around the world. The University of Technology Jamaica's Beckford and Michael University College's Dixon will be the first Jamaicans to play in the league. And finally, in tennis, world number 3 Roger Federer is out of the Shanghai Masters. He was upset 7-6, 2-6, 6-3 by world number 70 Albert Ramos Vinolas in the second round. The defending champion, who had received a bye into the second round, was playing his first match since losing the US Open final to Novak Djokovic. As for Ramos Vinolas, who was beating a top 10 opponent for the first in his career, he goes on to face Frenchman Joe-Wilfried Tsonga. Meanwhile, Nick Kyrgios has been fined for a foul-mouthed outburst at the Masters Justice his second court violation warning in a week. The 20-year-old was fined $1,500, and if he incurs a $5,000 worth of fees before February, he could trigger a 28-day ban. And that's it for the 5 o'clock Sports Roundup here on NewsTalk 93 FM. I am Mikhail Drama Johns saying stay tuned as we bring to you the business news and weather report.
The 5 o'clock Sports Roundup was brought to you by NewsTalk 93 FM, life-changing sports radio.
At 26 and a half minutes after 5, time for business news. On the local stock market today, the index declined by 530.18 to close at 106,123.07. The junior market index advanced by 28.34 to close at 1,258.33. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 32 stocks, of which 13 advanced, 13 declined, and 6 traded firm. Market volume amounted to 7.1 million units, valued at over $44.7 million. Lime was today's volume leader. Stocks advancing: AMG Packaging, Carb Cement, Caribbean Producers, Siboney, Consolidated Bakeries, JMMB 8.75, Kingston Wharves, Lasco Distributors, Lasco Financial, Lasco Manufacturing, Medical Disposables, Sagicor, and Seprod Limited. Stocks declining: 138 Student Living, Blue Power Group Limited, Carib Cream Limited, Carreras, Honeybun, Jamaica Brawlers Group, Producers Group, JMMB, Lime, NCB, Panjam Investment, Scotia Group, and Scotia Investments. On the foreign exchange market, the US dollar closed at 119.47. The pound sterling $182.10, the Canadian dollar $91.80, and the euro $136.40. That's business news.
And now we take a look at the weather. There is a broad trough across the Western Caribbean and Jamaica, which is expected to remain across the Western Caribbean and Jamaica for the next 3 days. In the forecast for tonight, expect cloudy conditions across western parishes.
To end the news, the main points. Lawyers defend Carib Court of Justice as final appellate court for Jamaica.
Office of the Public Defender investigates withdrawal of head girl position from student of St. Hilda's High School.
Police High Command expresses shock at the murder of District Constable Ashley Howard.
And JLP caretaker candidate for Central St. James says the PNP's crime strategy has collapsed.
That's your 5 o'clock news roundup here on NewsTalk 93 FM. I'm Errol Lee.
And I'm Andre.